Hello again, everyone. Edwin Leonard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be dissertating and talking about the Sun transiting the fifth house in a natal chart. And the Sun, on average, will transit the fifth house or any house for 30 days approximately because the Sun moves at approximately 1 degree per day, and the average house size is about 30 degrees. So if you're though it's sometimes many instances actually this can vary. Now let's say that your house size is 25 degrees, then the Sun will traverse the fifth house for about 25 days. Now let's say your house size is a little bit bigger than 30 degrees, say it's 40 degrees, then the Sun will transit the house for about 40 days. Well, anyway, people, well, the first thing is that when the Sun transits the first house, there could be a very strong emphasis on romance, amusement, fun, and hobbies. This could be that time where you really want to go out and do fun things. It could be going to the amusement park. It could be just doing whatever it is you really like to do. It could be a time where you may embark on some new creative endeavor or project. Creative expression may be nearly paramount at this particular point in time. You may feel a real strong urge to really express yourself in a very creative manner. It could be a time where you feel a lot more gregarious, a lot more extroverted than usual. Even if your Sun, let's say even if you had your Sun, Moon, and Ascendant were all feminine signs, or say in general you're just an introverted person, and you may still feel that need to really go out there and really be around people even more so than usual, and be more outgoing and sociable. This could be a greater propensity for gambling and just conjecture and speculation in general. And really, this could be a period where people might be a little bit more, have a proclivity to take risks and take chances than they ordinarily would, even if this person is fundamentally cautious. And this could be a time where one may have to guard against possible a gambling instinct. And just remember that moderation is important in everything, even moderation itself. And leisure activities may feel like they need to take precedence at this time, but what's important to remember is that when the Sun transits the fifth house, that don't put your things that you have to do, those mandatory requirements, so your job or whatever it may be, your day-to-day obligations and duties still have to be done, and don't become oblivious to them in the process just because you might feel this need, this urge to perhaps enjoy yourself more during this period, and amusement and fun might be the strong focal point right now for you. But just remember that there are other things that often have to be done, so just keep that in mind. This might be a time where you may feel someone experiencing the Sun transiting their fifth house. There might be a need to be more showy and flamboyant and stand out. The person might, in their appearance, they might wear something that attracts a little bit more attention than usual, even if this person is really more consistently a conservative dresser. Even if this person is generally reticent, this might be a time where this person might boast a little more about themselves and speak of themselves with a lot of confidence and real self-assuredness at this point in time. And really, the thing about this too is that romance can be highlighted during this period, and really romance, if there's something that you've put on the back burner, or if you've been procrastinating in terms of asking that prospective romantic partner to go to the next level, and say you're in a platonic relationship, a lot of times I could see the person trying to ascend to the next level, so to speak. And if this is something where if you haven't been giving that romantic partner, that significant other enough time, this might be that period where the person feels that need to give that romantic partner more time than usual. So those are some things to look at as far as the sun transiting the fifth house. And also, to look at it by sign can make a difference too. Let's say, for example, that the sun is in Aquarius when it's transiting the fifth house. Let's say that it's in Aquarius for either the majority or the whole time that it's transiting your fifth house. This might be a time where maybe somebody gets interested or continues a possible interest that would be like a hobby connected with electronics or computers. It could be like one of those those people that are have that hobby with the remote control cars and things of that nature, or something connected with computers and electronics. And really, and say if sun was transiting and it was in Scorpio for either the majority or the whole period it was in the fifth house, it could be something where maybe there's an interest more connected with maybe astrology, supernatural, occult matters as far as fun, amusement, or a hobby during this period. So those are some things to look at. And also it's also important to look at the aspects that the transit makes during the period. Now, let's say that the transiting sun in the fifth house makes an adverse aspect to your natal Neptune during that period. It could indicate that maybe this person might really be into possibly some unrealistic gambling things or unrealistic things of a speculative nature. So those are some things to consider, and maybe more, and there might be things connected more with fantasizing about doing something connected with the fifth house as far as romance, for example. And so those are some things to look at. Now, another example is, let's say that the transiting sun in the fifth house makes a conjunction to the natal Mars during this period at some point. Well, for that period, it might give that extra vitality and energy, perhaps connected with the creative endeavors and creative expression of this person. This might give a little bit more, you could say, a little bit more aggression, more initiative and enterprise, especially if this person, let's say, is starting out on a new creative project or trying to, or maybe seeking a new romantic partner, something connected, or maybe doing something in terms of connected with their children if the person has them. So those are some things to look at as far as the sun transiting the fifth house in a natal chart. Well, anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for the sun transiting the fifth house in a natal chart. And stay tuned next time, where I'll be dissertating and talking about the sun transiting the sixth house in a natal chart. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel, but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone. Because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart, and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.